Hello everyone, and welcome to another wonderful day here at the Waterhole. My name is Amy, and I will be with you for the first half of the show today. Wow, what a beautiful everybody. We've got a herd of Ellies, some zebra as well, and a little one already starting the pool for us. A reminder to everyone that this is a live and interactive show, so please do send through comments and your questions. I would most definitely love to hear from you all. Let's chat about what we're looking at, anything you'd like to know. You can share your thoughts and questions with me. Oh man, these ones are just the best. I am very much looking forward to see what we find and what comes down to the water today. Jean G, you say you've discovered the channel and it is brilliant. Well, a very warm welcome to you, Jean. We always love to hear of new viewers and people discovering the channel. I do that you enjoy it. And just so you know, Jean, we don't only have the Waterhole show, we also do live safaris both in the morning and the afternoons. But yeah, we take it easy. We enjoy looking at all the animals that come down to the Waterhole across various locations. So right now we are at Madikwe Game Reserve in the West Province of South Africa. And throughout the day today, we'll hop around and see what is all coming down to the Waterhole at a few different spots. Andrew, hello. Thanks for sending through your question. And it's a good one. It's about baby elephants. You want to know, are they so cheeky and spunky because they have awareness of how few threats they actually are for and how protected they are by their parents? I don't think so, Andrew. I think Sorry, Andrew, I will continue answering your question now. I believe there was a slight breakup in my audio, but all should be better. I don't think the baby ellies know that there aren't many threats for them. In fact, when they're younger, there are more threats than when they are bigger. And they definitely know that they're protected. I think with the little ones, they are only so brave because mom's around. So I definitely think that is part of it, Andrew. This elephant's chasing around that impala. I think it was an impala or it was a springbuck, but it's a little bit, the shadows not helping. But anyway, often we see these elephants chase around some of the animals when they are on their way to drink. Yesterday, there was a comment about how brown everything's getting again. And it's true, even the water level here we can see has dropped quite a bit at Jamala. And it's amazing how short the greenery lasts when the rains don't come. So we are waiting for some more rain to brighten everything up here. There's a blacksmith lapwing and I believe a three-banded plover. They're moving around just on that bit of ground that we can see popping up. Oh, there's that impala again.
WildEarth Travel, in association with Wandering Through, is offering some exclusive, privately guided safaris in 2024. James is taking a trip into the famed woodlands of the mysterious White Lion, Ngala Private Game Reserve, in July. Steve and Cedric will lead a safari to Chitwa Chitwa in November. To book, email travel@wildearth.tv or go to the website for more information. We are looking forward to seeing you on safari.
It's amazing how things at the waterhole often ebb and flow. And when we started, there was so much happening all at once. And slowly but surely, those animals have moved off. But I'm sure we'll see some more heading down. There was a wildebeest here just now having a drink. So it looks like a very warm day. Here at Jamala, the sun is shining, the skies are clear. So, with that, I'm sure we'll see more and more, especially the elephants coming down to cool down today. And you can see those colors, although the bush is quite green there and about. We had all of this grass here where these ellies are walking, a really bright green a few weeks ago. And as that sort of dried out and the rains have passed through, it's starting to go back to the color that we became so accustomed to seeing. Ross, hello. You want to know which tree has the biggest thorns? Well, Ross, what I would is that there are plenty of trees with thorns and spikes on out in the bush, and most of those belong to what was the former acacia family. It's now been split into Vachelia and Senegal, and one of those is actually called a balloon thorn, which we don't find here. We actually find that more towards KwaZulu-Natal area, um, around one of the locations with Africa Tembi. That would be you may find a thorn. It's quite interesting that those thorns actually swell up. It might not be the longest but they do sort of blow up, which is quite cool to see. Then other trees with really long thorns would say Sorry, Ross, just to finish off that thought um, about the trees, that also the umbrella thorn or Vachellia tortilis is another one with really long thorns. These wildebeest are looking for a little bit of something here, as well as the impala. And I see another elephant has arrived, which is fantastic news. Oh, and another one looks like it's on its way as well.
This is On Safari. In this particular case, it looks like he's made a coalition with his sons.
I'm sure this afternoon is going to be a fantastic drive, as always.
Now remember, this is live and interactive, so we'd love to hear from you.
Well, we have just been enjoying these two bulls here. we can see that this particular bull here has a much shorter left tusk than its right. Now that could be for a variety of reasons. Probably that he actually prefers to use his left over his right. Andrew, hello, welcome. Thank you for sending through your question. You say that this morning Steve was talking about human-elephant conflict. And have I ever seen it firsthand? And what do you think is the best way to settle these conflicts? Andrew, it is a good question and not one that has an easy answer. At the end of the day, we have to ensure the safety of all consumers. And of course, elephants entering communities is not ideal.
Our march to freedom is irreversible. We raise our hands and we say, we will be free!
Great mass of South Africans denied their humanity.
Well, apologies for that, everyone. We just had to hop on over to Juma as there was a little bit of a freeze in the feed. But a beautiful scene here, always with those amazing bird calls in the background. Now, Andrew, you were talking about the human-elephant conflict. And just to finish off that question, I haven't seen it firsthand in terms of it actually happening, but what I have seen is signs of it, which is not nice at all. And there's certain areas where elephants can cross over into different regions freely, particularly within the Greater Kruger up north. And I have seen the injuries on elephants from snares and those sorts of things, which is not nice. Elephants with holes in their trunks or bits missing, injuries around their legs, things like that. And so the threat and the sort of the conflict is very real in some areas, and like I mentioned earlier, it is about the safety of all concerned, the elephant as well as the humans. There was a message sent earlier actually about a video of an elephant that was seen around the Nelspruit area, which is just outside of the Greater Kruger. And you want to know where the elephant was coming from and if the community killed it. It's not something that I heard of. That was from Nature M, but it does tie into what Andrew's talking about. So I thought, let me mention it now, and let's chat about it. And Nature M, it's not something that I know of, so I'll have to go and look up that particular incident before I can comment on it particularly. But in general, should, let's say, an elephant escape from a game reserve and threaten the lives of the community, it will need to be put down. Now, whether the community does that, it should be done by someone authorized to do so with experience. But if it's a life-threatening situation, you've got to do what you've got to do in order to save the life of the people that are there, and possibly even the elephant may cause damage to crops and homes and things like that. So the solution, I think better management, of course, being able to have proper fences and measures in place that allow elephants to not break through. And there has to be cooperation, I think, is the other side of that, Andrew, in terms of the community as well as the reserve working together in order to understand what are the benefits of having the reserve of the elephants there, particularly within South Africa where our reserves are fenced. If you go further up into Africa, for example, around the Masai Mara and the Serengeti, where there are no fences, the community lives on land shared with the animals, then that is a different sort of conflict management in terms of finding alternative ways to deter things like elephants from coming onto the land. I believe there's a project that has to do with bees that keep the elephants away from coming into people's land. They don't enjoy the buzzing and things like that. So it's actually quite a clever way that's currently being researched as possibly a feasible way to keep elephants away from humans. So it's all these things, Andrew, have to consider and think about. But in terms of human-animal conflict with regards to elephant, an elephant is so huge, it's very difficult to not take extreme action should one escape and cause chaos or hurt people. That threat needs to be eliminated, because most likely if you just put it back, it's just going to do the same thing again. So it is sad in that way, but I think it's a lesson that is constantly being learned and improved upon in order to avoid these situations. haven't even mentioned the beautiful herd of impala that are here at Juba at the moment. Quite a large one at that, but how peaceful is this scene, everyone? I really hope that you are enjoying it as much as I am. I see a very odd looking impala there, everyone. In fact, it's not an impala. Mixed in between there was an Inyala female who was walking through. She had the white stripes down her side. And I see, oh, there it is, just there in the center. You can see it's got the stripes coming down, so easily can be mixed up with impalas when they all mix together like this. But in fact, it is actually a different species of antelope, a very pretty one at that. Clarissa, you want to know, they look too young to be moving alone. Is this a creche? Clarissa, within this group of impalas, there will be babies that would have been born November, December. So in that way, it would be a creche in terms of all the babies sort of hang out together. But this is one herd, so you wouldn't find many of these are all fully grown impalas. They are just medium-sized antelopes, so they are quite small. There's a little baby in the front there, one of the young ones, but just behind her, for example, would be mom. So you've got young males, they're the ones with the horns on, or adult males, and then you've got the babies, and you've got the normal adults, females, which is like the one on the left of the screen there, and some of the babies all on the right. So not quite just a creche, it's actually a mixed herd with big ones and little ones all together. There's another Egyptian goose and a little gosling. Oh, two heads I see there. I think yesterday was the cutest sighting of goslings I've ever had there at Jamala on the little island in the middle with them all drying off in the sun. That was a fantastic sighting that we had of these little ones yesterday. And so this is a different location, but the same species of bird. And it is the time for these Egyptian geese to lay their eggs and have their babies. So we see plenty of them around, all the way from October through till about April. You can see the babies. But you can see it's quite overcast. I myself am located not too far here from Juma, which is the area that you're looking at now, and it is quite overcast today, a lot cooler. So the heat is coming, and I'm sure it'll warm up by this afternoon, but for now it isn't quite that blistering heat that we're expecting over the weekend. Can you hear the red-billed buffalo weavers? Oh, that one's having a bit of a stretch. RB, you asked a little bit earlier about lantana and if it's a problem within Africa. So for those of you who don't know, lantana is a type of plant. It is an invasive species, and it most definitely is a problem. It is actually not a bad looking plant. It has a beautiful pink flower, and unfortunately wherever it grows it just takes over, and it is something that is actively removed from national parks, as we don't want invasive or alien species to be in our national reserves or protected areas. We want indigenous species, plants that are originally found in our land to prosper and to grow. But lantana is just rife. Where it grows, it just completely takes over. And it is one of, I think we've chatted about it before quite a while ago, about invasive species and plants and that sort of thing. And there is an active effort to try and remove the stuff, but it is just, it grows so quickly and so easily. And it is one of the problems that we face. And these sort of invasive species come from overseas, and lantana specifically from sort of Central America, and then also Mauritius. And it is brought over by settlers and visitors to Africa and that sort of thing. I'm not exactly sure of its how prolific it is throughout Africa, but I know within South Africa, I've seen it plenty within the Eastern Cape. I know that it has been removed, like I say, from reserves purposefully, but you've got to get it out by the root or completely remove the whole thing, otherwise it will just grow back. So absolutely, RB, that lantana is a problem. And as with any of the alien plants, it saps the resources from our local trees. And so that is why it is such a big issue. This is a beautiful marula tree just here next to where the camera is. And we've seen a few of the fruits on here, and also a good spot for lots of birds. So we've just been checking out the scene to see if we can spot anything. Well, we are hoping to spot something special, everyone. I was actually hoping to see something like a bird of prey around, but none as of yet. Sometimes we're lucky. We've seen things like tawny eagles, Warburg's eagles, brown snake eagles a few times. So it would be very, very cool to be able to see something like that. Sometimes on a log close to the water like that, we might be able to see a water monitor lizard. They come out sometimes and sun themselves or try and get some heat in spots like that. I see the back of a hippo there, but it is behind the tree. So hopefully when it pops out, we can check if the little one is still around. Impalas are really amazing antelopes. I know they're the one thing that you're almost guaranteed to see on a visit to the Kruger. But they are really beautiful. I find them in sometimes as a herd. Their sounds and sights in a beautiful afternoon lighting in beautiful green grass can be sometimes a beautiful sighting indeed. Very pretty coats with the counter shading, darker on the top, lighter on the bottom. And fascinating to watch and learn their dynamics as well. And they will stay like this all day, moving from area to area. There's no real leader as such. They all sort of follow one another around. And at this time of year, before we head into the rut, which occurs around April, May time, which is the mating season, and when the males get a little bit more aggressive. But for now, they all mix together. You can see males with the horns on their heads, the females without. And then some of the smaller ones, as mentioned earlier, are the babies that were born towards the end of last year. They have a very clear breeding season. And we all enjoy that time of the year where it's a guessing game when the first baby is going to be born. But I can't believe how big these ones are already. And that male there walking with those horns on top of his head, he would have been born 2 years ago. So not this last breeding season, but the season before. And really there's some coming back. Probably had a drink here around the water. They're mixed feeders, so they eat both grasses as well as shrubs and trees and forbs, which mean they're not heavily reliant on any one thing. They fit in well within the ecosystem in that way, and therefore can be quite successful in terms of survival. But I do wonder what they're thinking. They all walked to the right and decided to all come back again. For these animals, it's all about not being the odd one out. Part of their survival strategy is to be in their large numbers and stick together, making them less vulnerable than if they are all on their own. Oh, and there we have the male Inyala now coming down to drink. Now, earlier I was talking about the female Nyala. We could clearly see those stripes on her body with a few white dots and a very orangey coat. Now, this is the male, a lot larger in size. You can also see the stripes and orange legs, but that is where the similarities end. His entire top half of his body changes color to a gray sort of brown, and he gets these beautiful horns on top of his head. Now this is interesting, everyone. Let's just watch this and then we'll chat about it just now. I thought he was going to do a lot more. Ended abruptly. But this is a very sort of interesting, fascinating, I think would be a more appropriate word to use, behavior that we see from not only Inyalas, but kudus as well. Buffaloes do it, wildebeest. And it's when they go and they stick their horns into the mud, like what we just saw this Inyala do. And there are a lot of theories behind why these antelopes do this. Or let's say animals with the horns on top of their head. There we go, he's going to do it again. And it's more these sort of solitary males that do it more than, let's say, impalas. It's not so common in the males with them. But particularly kudus and Inyala, I would say most commonly, and buffaloes as well, but they mud wallow, so it's not uncommon to see them sticking their horns in the mud. And there's no definite reasoning as to why they do it. Some people say it's to make their horns look bigger, but quite honestly, I mean, how much mud must you stick on your horns to enlarge them? I do have a sense, sort of a instinctual reason, which has to do with hygiene or some sort of cleaning, that may be very difficult for them to reach any other way. Perhaps it itches a little bit around the top of their horns where it joins the skull, and they need to try and reach it. So there we have the male and the females together in one shot, which is quite nice to see.
We are bringing you a new and improved fan favorite. We have unearthed the finest gems from over the years in our archives to give you hours of amazing entertainment. Hop on the largest safari vehicle in the world and revisit the best of WildEarth with epic moments from eco-training Pride Lands, memories from Madikwe, and more. Reconnect with your favorite naturalists and animal characters with the best of Safari Live. WildEarth, connecting with nature.
Denise, hello to you. You want to know, have you ever seen the Nyala dance? And what does it look like? Well, Denise, it is amazing to see. And no, it's not Nyala's breaking it down on the dance floor. Denise, what you're referring to is called the lateral display. And it's done by the male Nyalas. So we wouldn't see these beautiful females doing it. We would see the male that headed off into the bush there. And what happens, it's all about dominance. So you would have two males looking like the one that we saw come down and dig his horns into the mud. And basically, you would have them stand and laterally display to one another. And one would stand usually quite still, but sometimes they both move and sort of give each other the hairy eyeball, as it were. They really suss each other out, and it's all about doing that in order to avoid conflict. So any animal that begins a physical fight with another is risking their life and risking injury and their survival. So Nyalas have worked out an alternative to decide who is the most dominant bull. And that is called this Nyala dance, as it were, in inverted commas. And basically, it's the slow motion moving in a circle between two males. And it's really, really, really quite amusing to see, but also very cool. And I have indeed seen it myself. I actually saw it when I was a few times. So I've seen it out on drive at Juma before, as well as while guiding. So there's a few different times I've seen it. And it is very entertaining and very cool to see. It's literally like someone's pressed the slow motion button. So Denise, if you're interested in seeing it, I would definitely look it up and watch a video on it so that you can understand. But they also sort of erect their hair, and their mane on their back stands up, everything. It's like they're walking on eggshells, I suppose would be my best description of it. Walking in slow motion, like they're walking on eggshells in a circle around each other. That would probably be the best description I can give to you, Denise. Whereas two impalas put their heads together like that. These are two younger ones. I think one's a little bit older than the other. Anyway, but these two are just having a bit of fun. We can actually hear those horns hitting together, which is very cool. And now it's all fine, but when it gets to about 2 months' time, this will become very serious. And I've actually seen some ugly fights between male impalas, injuries, blood, cuts on the face, on the neck. So it can get very serious as they fight to decide who is the most dominant male and gets to mate with the females. It's amazing that we can actually hear their horns knocking together. Oh. What an incredible camera and sound we have here, Juma. When it's starting to get dark and the sun's setting and the first stars are coming out, and you hear that water thickening call, and you just close your eyes and you take a deep breath and you just like, this is magic. Well, everyone, it's now coming to that time of the show, can you believe it or not, where in just a few minutes' time, we are going to be joined by Africam. So if you are watching on YouTube at the moment, please do make sure that you pop on over to one of our other platforms, either on the WildEarth website or on the app, to continue watching the Live at the Waterhole show. Otherwise, if you're in the UK, you can watch us on Freeview or in South Africa on DSTV, channel 183. It's always good to make sure that we check everywhere. In some of the nooks and crannies of a dead log, you can find some real treasures. But nothing yet. And that's also a favorite, this tree for the birds. We've seen lots of life come and go through these branches.
right, everyone. Well, as mentioned, the time is here. So let's get ready and let's welcome Africa.